A homegrown Husker turned Super Bowl champion gives back in his home state today. Welcome into sports. I'm Mason Kern. Cam Jurgens, the pride of Pickerel, hosts a youth football camp in Beatrice, the debut of what he's calling Camp Jurgy. It's held on the field at Beatrice High, his alma mater, which is now named after him. Hundreds of kids from 3rd to 8th grade participated in the event, running drills with the Eagles linemen, along with former Omaha West Side quarterback Cole Payton, who was just drafted by Philly in the 5th round. Both say it's a meaningful opportunity to give back to the state that's provided them with so much.
Coming back here and getting to be that role model for them, it means a lot. And, come back here, Beatrice, to the Cam Jurgens field, looking down there, it's pretty surreal. It wasn't as much about learning football and getting better. It was about having fun, community event, and just showing people anything can happen.
This is a great way to give back. I mean, we're in the middle of Nebraska, a small town, and there's hundreds of kids here that look up to Cam, that look up to us.